watch your knuckles on the steering wheel. See your knuckles, watch your knuckles, or his knuckles. Turning right. Good. The only thing I didn't like with that obstruction of the white transit is we came up and then at the last minute we changed our position. Get your position early. Good, don't try and ride too slow. That's it. Check right, that's clear, we're gone. Good. Keep your toe underneath the gear lever. And then as soon as you want, preload the gear lever, preload up, and in actual fact you'll find you don't even have to use the clutch. You can just shut the throttle and it'll go into the next gear. By shut, I don't mean shut it completely, I just mean roll it to the closed position. We're going straight on, straight on. Good, following position is good. Position in the road is good. Straight on, straight on. Straight on, straight on. Straight on, straight on. Going to take the next turning, or sorry, at the traffic lights, turning right, please. Observation in the mirror. Signal, blind spot. Good. Position, pointy bit of the arrow, pointy bit of the arrow. Clutch in, click, 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 slower, 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 slower. You wanted to ride up that last 6 feet in first gear. We came into that too fast. Left, left, right, right, go. Good. And immediately left, please. Immediately left. Good. Good. Can't. Right, okay. Good. Right. Okay, just a U-turn here then. Use the entrance in on the left. I'll check behind me. Which is clear. Good, head right round. Come on, looking at me. Looking at me. That's better. Good. Good. And then use the brake to slow you down. Good, straight on, straight on. Good, make sure you're in first. Keep your toe on top of the gear lever. Keep your toe on top. Any slow speed manoeuvring if your toe is on top of the gear lever. Right, just down here the other side of the car then, if we do another U-turn. I'm checking behind you, so somewhere down there. You need to tuck in fairly close to that car. Yep, it's clear. Head right round looking for me. We're on drive on, head looking round, that's it. Good. Little bit on the throttle and then go up and do another U-turn then. Good. Good. Always do manoeuvres in first gear. If you just want to wait, just down there. For me. Good. Now. That's it, just now. There's two ways of doing the U-turn, right? there is way one, which is upright. Now, all you need to do here is flick the handlebars left, get the bike to turn, and then just bring the bike round in while staying upright. Okay? Just doing that from the back. If I flick now, the bike starts to turn quicker. I'm using the rear brake, and I just keep the clutch right in. So I'm actually coasting round there. So I get to that point where I want to do a U-turn, yeah, clutch in. Actually, I dropped into a leany one then. Let's go right round and do a non-leany one. Right. So, and what the ultimate aim is, if you can get the bike on faux lock, which is where my bike is now, I can just ride round on faux lock, and it's so much easier. Yeah, I push the steering against the lock stop, and then I use the rear brake and the clutch to control the speed. The other way of doing a U-turn, which is probably the better one for you to try, but I just wanted to show you that you can keep the bike upright, is the leany one. Now, the important thing with the leany one is that if we flick the handlebars to the opposite direction to the way we're going to go, first, the bike will fall over really quickly. So if you watch, when I come down here, I'm going to flick the handlebars left. Now! And then I can just go round in a leany way. Now, the biggest risk is here, is if I touch the front brake, I am off. There's no ifs, there's no buts. I will fall off if I touch my front brake. I keep my hand away from the front brake. Nobody's expecting you to lean over as much as that, okay? Nobody's expecting you to do heroics, but the bike will rescue you. So if you let the clutch out, the bike will rescue you. If you worry about the curb and look at the curb, you're going to hit the curb. So just hit the curb and ride up it. No matter. If you panic and pull the clutch in, then you're going to have problems. So at the moment, just come down here, just try a flick, and let's see if you can get the bike round. Don't try, don't worry if you're not going to get round, but use the rear brake. In fact, we'll go the other side of the van, which is a little bit wider. Out where the car is, so where you did your first U-turn. So just now, just flick the handlebars left, flick it, and feel the bike turning. That's it. That's it. Head right round, keep the drive on. Perfect. And that is, if I measured that, that would be what's required on test. Yeah. Secret is not to ride too slow, okay? Because that's when it goes wrong. Yeah. Good. And if you ride with the rear brake on, now as opposed to on a car where you're riding the clutch and you get that clutch to that sweet spot and you ride it, careful, there's a car coming in. As opposed to in a car where you ride the clutch, what we will be looking for on the motorbike is almost if I was coming along and pushing you in a series of pushes. So when I do this, it's clutch in, clutch out, 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 clutch in, clutch out. So it's just going to give myself a little push. So if you just try a U-turn there, okay, I'm not too worried about the U-turn, but what we want to do is just riding down there, just getting that push off the bike, off the clutch. That's it, don't go too slow. That's it, well done, well done. All right, so just ride, clutch in. When you start losing control of the bike, clutch in. When you start feeling the bike being unbalanced, then I need to get a bit closer to you to watch what you're doing. And that's it, in and out and straight in again. So it's just like me giving you a push from behind. That's it. That's it. That's it. So that's the method of clutch control we're looking for, a push type thing. It's not having the clutch out, head right round, head right round. It's not having the clutch in. Good. Now the other thing is, if you utilise the rear brake when you're doing that, you'll find that the bike is stabilised from the rear and is much more controllable. Good. Okay, I'm going to come round and talk to you. So, good. Well done. Very good. Any questions? Okay. So, right. When you're ready then, we're going to move off. Now, the only thing is we came up to that traffic light back here. Let's just go back to that. In fact, let's go right back. We came up Wellington Road and there was a white van parked on the left-hand side of the road. And you obtained a position, and then just before you got to the van, you went out for more. Yeah? Get your position. If you're not comfortable with that position, you've got to do one of two things. You've got to reduce your speed or reduce your position. Yeah? Yeah? And if you reduce your position, you're going to reduce your speed anyway. Yeah? So what we're trying to do is get as much out there as possible. When that means then, when we get into that situation, we're not having to do a shoulder check to actually move out more. We've already made our decision what distance we want. Yeah? Then when we came down to the traffic light just up there, you tended to do it down as you would do in a car and coast up gently. Now, what I'm looking for is you to come down into first gear, 10 foot before the traffic light, ride up to the traffic light in first gear. Then every manoeuvre that you do is riding up and stopping in first gear. You know you're in first gear, you haven't got to panic. The other thing is, if you put your foot on my foot a second, just lift it up. Right, can you get neutral a second? Sorry, I'm asking you to do two things at once. Don't leave the ignition on if it's on. Right, toe on top of mine. Right, so hand. This is your throttle, this is your gear, right? So when we come off anywhere and we want another gear, what I want you to do is preload the gear lever up, and then we're just going to drop the throttle back that much. We're not shutting it, we're just rolling it back from where it wants to be in third gear to where the same speed is in fourth gear. And because I've preloaded my gear lever, you'll find it a change gear without the clutch. Okay? What we can do if we're not getting that dead right, is what we call stroking the clutch. And stroking the clutch is the fact that I will pull the clutch in, it's changed, let it straight out. So I'll do it on your bike. It might be that I only do that on the clutch. Yeah, I'm not pulling it right the way back into the handlebar. It's just doing that to change gear. It's called stroking. So, unless there's any questions, we'll go off and have a look at that then. Okay, so left, right, right, go. As you come down here, without getting caught up in the truck, if you can treat the gaps between the lines as your cones, and then we're just going from cone without driving on the line, just moving the bike, but don't come down here near the van. We'll call it quits there. Straight on, straight on. Turning right. I think we've talked about debris fields before, and you can see one clearly indicated here, like a bikini bottom. Yeah, there is your debris field, and that's where you can start seeing stones and nails and bits and pieces. That's the areas we try and avoid on a bike more than anything. The other thing is when you come up to traffic lights like this, especially early in the morning or late at night when there's not much traffic. Make sure you drive over the diamonds that are etched in the road to activate the lights. Good, straight on, straight on. Loading with your gear lever, your toe should be underneath the gear lever, loading it towards the next gear, and you keep your toe underneath the gear lever. Like you would keep your hand on the gear lever of a car, or you wouldn't, but you could, and then you can go on up. Straight on, straight on. So it's a mirror check to slow. And your toe is coming on top of the gear lever now. Slower, slower, slower. Click, slower. Click, 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 click. First gear. Good. Straight on, straight on. Toe underneath the gear lever. Keep your toe resting on the gear lever or under the gear lever in contact with the gear lever. Straight on, straight on. At the end of the road, we're going to turn left, 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 please. Observation in the mirror. Signal. Good. Into the near side. Good. Touch in. Click, click, click. Down to first. Slower, slower, slower. Good. Drive. Yep. Go on. That's fine. Straight on, straight on. Turning right. Good. Good. Straight on, straight on. Good. Just get comfortable with the bike. Make sure you're aware the bike is going to do what you want it to do. You're going to lean gently on the handlebar on the inside of the bend. You're going to push that handlebar away from you gently to initiate the lean. So here, be very thoughtful about pushing the left-hand handlebar away from you and making the bike bend in. Good, straight on, straight on. Straight on, straight on. Watching your speed. Ease it down a bit, please. Thank you, that's fine. Good. Mirror check to leave the speed limit. Now it's normally best to check your down mirror or the inside bend mirror. Get a better view. Straight on, straight on. Straight on, straight on. Try and do it off your elbows, not off your body. You're tending to push the bike down underneath you. Just be comfortable with it. Have the confidence of knowing. Just a gentle bit of acceleration into the bend. Accelerate. Good. Positive acceleration into a bend gives us much more stability. We're going straight on, and the roundabout. So, observation in the mirror for the roundabout. Good. Signal, well that's going to be a brake light. Speed, slower, 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 and commit, yes. Off the brakes. Go on then. Keeping your toe underneath that gear lever, try it with no clutch. And then on somewhere like this, you need to just make sure by doing exactly the same that you're in the highest gear that's possible. Bearing in mind you got 6 gears on the machine. Straight on, straight on. Speed is good, position is good. Well done. Straight on, straight on. Straight on, straight on. Straight on, straight on. Watch your position. Good. Drive. Good. And just relax. Sit further back in the seat. Straighten your arms out. Chest out. Out means up and out. Good. Trying to get that drive on. Straight on, straight on. And ease. Rear brake. Off the brake. Drive on. Drive it round. Good. Good. Straight on, straight on. need to cut the corner a little bit, come into the white line on a right-hand bend. Try and stay centre where that black mark is. Just build your confidence. Should have seen the advance warning sign for the bend. There it is. And ease. What colour's the van coming round the corner then? Do you know? Not that one? Right. It's a white van and it's there in 3, 2, 1, there. Good. So advanced observations we need to get ahead up, further ahead, looking up ahead, scanning for more information. Straight on, straight on. So we see the road sweeps to the right. As our eyes open up, we're going to look further round to the right into as far a distance as we can, bringing our eyes back to us. And 2 advance warning signs, one for horses and the other one for a staggered junction. Straight on, straight on. Stop cutting the corner. Eyes straight up, see the caravan coming towards us. Straight on, straight on. Slow in the road mark twice. 100 yards to a junction, move slightly right. Give yourself a better view into the left-hand junction. Good, straight on, straight on. Moving down. Again, we got a junction coming from our left, slow marked on the road. Straight on, straight on. There's the junction left. It's clear. Straight on. Eyes down into the distance. Road sweeps right. Double bend sign. First one right, second one left. Slow in the road. Double white lines. As I get to the bend, I'm going to accelerate. Stop cutting the corner. Good. Eyes round, following the vision point, or the limit point as I like to call it. Further details on the web, look up limit point, focal point, reveal point. Straight on, straight on. Eyes up into the distance, see the double white line starting with the 2 warning arrows. We have a staggered junction. First one is from the left, second one is from the right. Straight on, straight on. Move slightly right. A vehicle coming towards us with hazard warning lights. Come on, Cap. Right, start again. Straight on, straight on. A wild animal sign for 2 miles. Road sweeps left, junction left, garage forecourt left, and slow. Bringing into plan the rear brake should I need to slow the machine down. I'm trying to get the rear brake off when I go round the corner. Eyes down into the distance. Road sweeps right, rear brake, bring the speed down. Add in with front brake should you need. Off the brakes, accelerate. Good, watch the car on the left move out towards the white line. He's got his brake lights on, he's about to move off. Straight on, and accelerate. Straight on, straight on. Good. Straight on, straight on. Restriction sign, mirror check. Good, let's go. Straight on, straight on. Ease and accelerate. straight on, straight on. We're going to do a little bit of cornering practice now. Just going to come by you when it's safe. Okay, what I want you to do now is come into the near side on the right hand bend. We're not doing this for any other reason than when you corner, you can then corner harder to the white line. Exactly the same now is when we come away, you can move the bike quicker away. So you're building up your confidence of being able to move the bike quickly within your own lane. So come out, almost touch the white line, then bring the bike. The bike is stable. You cannot fall off the machine. You're actually fighting it to change it from its vertical straight ahead position. If you take your hands off the handlebars, the bike will ride straight and true. So you have to do something. That tree looks nice. And push. Same here, threaten me bit the roundabout by at the junction bend by pushing on the handlebars. So you're building up your confidence about being able to bend. Worried me where you got to then. Expecting you to see you in a hedge. Right, straight on, straight on. What you can do now, bearing in mind if there's any following traffic you need to be aware of. But what we want to do now is think about some collision avoidance. So when these three cars are gone, I'm going to go out over the W of slow, in over the W of S. It's that type of thing, just to get the bike to move, so you're confident with it moving. Don't do it when you're going to come into conflict with other traffic. Straight on, straight on. When you're comfortable cornering, corner harder. Making sure you're away from those cars. Pick the drive up a little bit then. And when you're ready, straight on by me, please. Straight on by me. Pushing on that handlebar, push it tighter, push it tighter. Good. Exactly the same here. If there's no cars, come round. Can't do it now because there's cars. Straight on, straight on. Straight on, straight on. Straight on, straight on. Watch, careful, just ease it down. Straight on, straight on.